Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is the Investigamer, and today is Halloween. For you. For me, it's the day before Halloween because this was filmed in advance, but I digress. Today, I thought we would take a break from investigating games and do something a little less opinionated, like an editorial. I bet some of you are planning to celebrate Halloween by locking your door and playing some of your favorite horror games, such as Resident Evil, Fatal Frame, Amnesia, Silent Hill, the works. But what if I told you there's a game you haven't heard of, or if you have heard of, you don't expect to frighten you, that will? A game that will get you in the Halloween spirit in an unexpected way. There's a whole laundry list of these games, my friend, and today I'm gonna expose you to only 5 of them. That's right, these are my 5 unlikely Halloween picks. Alan Wake. This is first on the list simply because I'm pretty sure most of you have at least heard of it. Alan Wake is an episodic survival horror game that plays kind of like a Stephen King miniseries. I was almost positive King had something to do with the game by the time I reached the halfway point. The only thing that kept me from doing a Wikipedia search is the fact that the story doesn't take place in Maine. Instead, it takes place on the other end of the country, in Washington. Anyways, I think this game is perfect for Halloween. Suspenseful writing, enjoyable characters, and a clear understanding of mood and atmosphere gives Alan Wake a spot on this list, despite not being your typical gore-filled thrill fest. Anna. Okay, so this game is motherfucking terrifying. I mean it. I haven't even finished the damn thing because I'm just too much of a pussy. It's so scary. Things change when you aren't looking, sounds start yelling at me, and the next thing I know, I'm in a fetal position on the floor. The game plays out like Amnesia, but the puzzles are a little more demanding. Most people I know who played the game had to look up a walkthrough to get past certain parts. If you have a love for feeling smart and changing your pants every 5 minutes, don't hesitate to give this underrated horror masterpiece a try. Singularity. Alright, this is the point where I'm gonna have to start justifying myself a bit. Is this a horror game? No. It's a shooter with a heavy dose of action. But hear me out on this one. Singularity is one of the most underrated games released in the past few years, in my personal opinion. It has an incredibly creative premise that I'll admit has a somewhat sloppy execution, but the voice acting is top-notch, the gameplay is a downright blast, and best of all, this game has some absolutely excellent horror segments. Monster reveals, plot tension developed through eerie recordings, and some abandoned locations that really play with your curiosity. Yeah, I know, BioShock did the same thing, and probably better, but I'm here to introduce games you haven't heard of, not bolster the ones you play religiously. Check out Singularity if you have the chance. The Metro series. I couldn't choose between Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light because they both have their advantages. Equally as Russian as Singularity, Metro explores a reality where the people of Moscow have retreated to underground tunnels after a nuclear war. Meanwhile, the waste has created monsters on the surface that begin to attack the tunnel dwellers. There's much more to the story than that, but I prefer not to give anything away. Metro made the list because I don't think many people have played these games with the intention of being scared. Also, until Last Light came out earlier this year, most of my friends had never even heard of this series. In terms of horror, we have a quantity versus quality situation. Metro 2033 had far more horror segments than Metro Last Light, but I tend to think that Last Light had much better ones. It's a tough choice, but luckily you can't go wrong with either. Check them out. And lastly, we have a game that is the most unlikely of them all, Limbo. If you're the one person unfamiliar with this game, it's a black and white indie platformer that took the market by storm a few years ago with its minimalistic narrative and clever puzzles. I know what you're thinking. Why play this on Halloween? It's not even a horror game. Oh, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. It's not. But there's a reason I put it on this list. If you put your headphones on, crank up the volume, turn the lights out, and completely immerse yourself in the world of Limbo, you will find that you are living the Halloween dream. Think about it. The sound design, the art style, the trials ahead of you, this game really does portray what Limbo would be like if it existed. Being immersed in that atmosphere is eerily unsettling. It can send a shiver right down to your core every moment that you're playing it. I think the main reason for this is the lack of music throughout Limbo that is briefly interrupted by music that mimics a tape recorder being played backwards. It's almost ghostly, and it creeps me right the fuck out. Give it a chance. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Well, those are my unlikely Halloween picks. What are yours? Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. You can also check out my channel, Investigamer, here on YouTube, youtube.com/Investigamer, obviously. In the meantime, I gotta go prepare for my Halloween movie screening that I'm having right here in my lovely little apartment that you can't see. And I guess that's about it, so I'll see you later. Cheers. Have a terrifying day. This mask is kind of fucking stupid.